All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you so much for being here this morning. My name is Riley Schonborn, and I am a program manager for the MSD Solutions Lab. And I also lead innovation work with the Work to Zero team. So this is our first webinar of the year for our quarterly TechHub Marketplace webinar series. And today we will be discussing navigating the ongoing relationship between provider and industry. Today, you'll be hearing from our three panelists, and they will be discussing their expertise on navigating the ongoing relationship between provider and industry. After you hear from our panelists, you will have the opportunity to be a part of our moderated Q&A session. But before I introduce our speakers, I will be giving you a brief overview of the TechHub Marketplace. So the TechHub Marketplace is a searchable directory of NSC-approved technology providers. The TechHub Marketplace directly connects companies to the technology providers that can make their workplaces safer. So if you are a technology buyer, please visit us at nsc.org/TechHub to search technology providers today. If you're a solution provider, I will be discussing how you can join the marketplace. So technology solutions can reduce injuries and save lives. So why aren't they more readily adopted? And it's because safety professionals don't know what is available. So the TechHub Marketplace was designed to connect technology buyers with technology vendors. So this is what our Search to Solutions page looks like here on our website. So if you're a technology provider, this is what your listing would look like if you go onto our Search to Solutions page. And then if you click the individual listings, it'll go into more detail regarding your technologies, and you can have up to 3 technologies for your listing. If you're a technology buyer, you can use the filters on the left-hand side to specify what type of technology you're looking for. So you can filter based off hazard, technology, format, and industry. We currently have over 35 partners and over 150,000 website views. So into our package options. So we have 2 package options. Our first one is our basic partner. So it is one annual fee, which is our subscription model. Some benefits of being a basic partner is having an exclusive company profile, lead generation, advertising campaign for the marketplace, badge and media kit, and a discounted booth and priority application if you do apply to one of our safety technology pavilions, either at Congress or our future VHS event. And then our second package, which is our priority partner. So our priority partner, again, has that same annual fee, a subscription model. And then some of the benefits are all of the benefits of a basic partner, plus preferred ranking on that Search to Solutions page that you just saw, lead generation. You can publish case studies and videos on our Insights page, dedicated advertising campaigns, and being a part of our quarterly webinar series. So for our marketing and communication objectives, we want to drive traffic to the marketplace, positioning the marketplace as the go-to source for tech buyers and users, and increase adoption of safety technology solutions through improved accessibility. As a priority member, you'll get dedicated advertising, which includes a paid social and digital campaign and newsletter inclusions. For our current partner ads, each company has received around 70,000 impressions. And then you also have the opportunity to be a part of the quarterly webinar series that you are seeing here today. So our goal is to drive traffic to your website and give you some more networking opportunities. So if this is something you're interested in, visit us at nsc.org/TechHub and complete your lead form, and that will give you access to apply today to access that application. All right. So moving on to our webinar. So today you'll be hearing from our first 2 panelists, Natasha Porter and Reed Haynut from 3Motion AI. They'll be discussing their expertise on navigating the ongoing relationship between provider and industry. So first up is Natasha Porter. She is Chief Customer Officer of Benchmark GenSuite, has over 25 years of experience in leadership in the environmental health and safety and digital solutions field. Her extensive background includes roles as Compliance Assurance Manager, Six Sigma Master Black Belt, Program Manager, and Executive Vice President, accumulating in her position as Chief Customer Officer for Benchmark GenSuite. Natasha's history of leading sizable organizations, compliance, and regulatory-based digital initiatives for diverse global customers has been instrumental in her career progression in her current role. Her expertise in navigating complex compliance and regulatory landscapes combined with her proficiency in digital solutions has been vital in delivering innovative and effective EHS management systems to Benchmark GenSuite's clients. Academically, Natasha holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil and Environmental Engineering, as well as a Master's of Science in Engineering and Environmental Management and Economics, both from prestigious Johns Hopkins University. In addition to her professional accomplishments, Natasha currently serves as an advisory board member on the Center for Leadership Education for the Johns Hopkins Winning School of Engineering. This allows her to share her expertise and insight with the next generation of leaders in the field, further contributing to the advancement of the industry. Next is Reed Haynoon, CEO of 3Motion AI. Reed is a dynamic serial entrepreneur known for his unwavering commitment to problem solving and innovation. With over 25 years of experience, he has pioneered cutting-edge technologies in the industrial, healthcare, and sports performance sectors and have achieved widespread adoption and success for individuals and organizations alike. His innovative solutions are trusted by employers, health and safety professionals, and healthcare providers, and professional athletes for their effectiveness in risk triage, health promotion, performance optimization, and injury recovery. In 2016, Reed founded 3Motion AI with a bold vision to transform the landscape of risk assessment and workplace safety. This initiative underscores his dedication to tackling these vital challenges head-on. Today, 3Motion is a catalyst for change, harnessing the power of data, technology, artificial intelligence to substantially impact the field. So with that, I'm going to pass it on over to our speaker, Natasha Porter with Benchmark GenSuite.
Great. Thanks, Riley. So I just sent you a quick request to share. Hopefully, once you approve that, we can see my screen coming up. All right. Can you see everything?
Looks good.
All right, great. Well, thanks again, Riley, and really great to be here with you all today. Riley, didn't realize how long my intro was. I think in a nutshell, you can say I was in industry. I spent a number of years in industry as an environmental health and safety leader, and now I'm in more of a provider role. So it's really been exciting to have a career that touches kind of both of the main areas that we're going to be talking about today. So just as we kick things off, I wanted to provide a little bit of perspective on Benchmark GenSuite, what we do, and then talk a little bit about our subscriber community and kind of the importance of the connection and overall collaborative innovation strategies that we really work with our folks in industry. So we provide unified EHS, sustainability, operational risk, and overall risk management solutions. And this is a SaaS platform of a variety of different tools that you'll see listed here. And these are all supported by artificial intelligence and also advanced technology, especially with the insurgence of AI over the past, year and a half, 2 years. That's really been a big focus area for our industry subscribers and a need that we've been talking about. So our mission and overall goal is really to develop best practice workflow digital solutions that our subscribers can tap into, that can continue to evolve over time, and that they can launch very, very quickly. And within our Benchmark GenSuite suite of offerings and in our platform, you'll see a number of different solutions listed here, whether it's focusing on compliance and enterprise risk management, all the way through to sustainability and disclosure reporting. We have a number of different solutions to really meet our industry subscriber needs where they are in their overall journey in terms of what they're trying to meet for their goals and objectives. And today, really what I'm going to narrow in on is a particular application in our safety and high-risk operations space called ergonomics, that's focusing on ergonomic assessments and how we've really been partnering with 3Motion and our industry subscribers to make that solution come to life and deliver a lot of value based on the needs that we're seeing in the market. And so we've started, Benchmark GenSuite back in the late 90s. And as I had shared, I'm a former EHS leader and was really working at that time, implementing a number of different programs, doing ergonomic assessments myself in paper format. and trying to look at how we could leverage and use digital solutions to further what we were doing and to have a bigger, broader impact in terms of what we were doing for employee safety and also more broadly the environment as well. So we have about 30 years of experience in this space, really always looking at collaborating and innovating with our users and industry subscribers on understanding what their key goals and needs are and objectives, and building digital solutions to meet those objectives, and then innovating and evolving them over time to meet new regulatory requirements that are coming out, new best practices that are coming out across various industries and in the market. And I think the other key piece is recognizing the changes in technology. So we've spent quite a bit of time investing and integrating in with various technology partners that have a shared vision, similar to ours, really looking at collaborative innovation and how we can deliver the best digital solutions to our users in this space. So this example I'm going to talk about is really surrounding ergonomics and how we've been helping one of our subscribers, Boston Beer specifically, to help them get a handle on their challenge related to musculoskeletal disorders, MSDs, and ergonomic issues. So Boston Beer really came to us and said, look, having a lot of injuries in this space, and we aren't really moving the needle much with just traditional injury prevention measures. We need to figure out how we can leverage a technology solution to get better organized around our ergonomic assessments, and like to take a look at how we can do that using artificial intelligence. So that was really kind of what started in 2023, and we embarked on developing a joint solution to meet that objective. And what's really exciting in the Boston Beer story is the immediate value that they got from implementing a digital solution in this space. What would typically take them 60 minutes per ergonomic assessment, by using this type of technology solution, cut that back to about 5 minutes. And the accuracy and quality of their ergonomic assessments were 10 to 20x better what they were experiencing when they were doing it just on paper. So the key here really was we had in the Benchmark Gen Suite platform, we had an ergonomic evaluator tool that really could help our subscribers organize their ergonomic assessments, understand where they were going to be going and doing these assessments, what risks were trending, whether it's in office space environments all the way through to manufacturing, field service environments, et cetera, and getting a sense of that. But really the key piece for the inclusion of AI with Remotion's technology was to look at democratizing that ability to go do ergonomic assessments. I was sharing with Reed when we met that, I used to do ergonomic assessments, and I had to go through training for at least 8 hours to get a base understanding of ergonomics. And still, even with that, I didn't feel, fully capable to do all the various assessments that you need to do an ergonomic assessment well. And I think that's really where the power of this AI technology comes into play, is providing those answers, doing the hard work of the assessment, and enabling an EHS leader or users out in the field to really focus on the outputs of that assessment and how they're going to go about making improvements so they can reduce the ergonomic risks that they have in their facilities or in their field service environment. So I wanted to show you an example of how this works. I think examples are always a great way to really show what this kind of technology is about. So in this case, what you'll see is we've got a gentleman who's going to be moving boxes in his work environment. And this is some basic information about the ergonomic assessment. So where it's taking place, what the employee is doing. And you can scroll down, as we've done in this little snippet here, and attach a video of the work being done. And once that video is attached, the artificial intelligence solution will run and do a full assessment of the ergonomic risk using the REBA model. Now, there's a number of different models in ergonomics for folks that are joining on the phone that spend quite a bit of time in the space. There's Reba, Rula, NIOSH, et cetera. This tool does a multitude of those different types of assessments. This is just an example of how the Reba model has been applied and can generate the overall risks for certain parts of the body as well as overall. And it also produces a really detailed report, and it's also a nice visual report for what those assessment results were about. So then again, if you think about an operator, all you really need is a phone and the ability to do a quick video, capture that, and then the tool will do the work for you. Now that snapshot that I just showed you is kind of when we originally started with the Boston Beer team. And then what I wanted to show you here is the 3Motion team also really is integrated in this collaborative innovation model and thinking about how to continue to improve their video capture and output results. So this is actually a great snapshot of now when you do the video, this will run in line. So you can see joint risk cumulatively and actually the overall score appearing as that video is being conducted. I'll give you just a couple more examples and then I'm going to turn things over to Reed. I think these are some really great snapshots from the Boston Beer team. The left side of the screen shows what they used to do. So I had described that 60-minute long ergo assessment. This was a team member that was manually out there with the measuring tape and trying to figure out distances, et cetera, to be able to do their manual or paper-based ergonomic assessment. Now with the use of the Benchmark JumpSuite Ergo Evaluator and 3Motion AI integrated technology, they're using the solution that you see on the right side of the page. So really leveraging technology to give them the results so they can focus on the actionable insights and what they need to do next. The other thing that the Boston Beer team has shared is the example on the left is the communication model that they used to use for their employees or what they call coworkers in their business. And really the feedback from the coworkers and employees was, the communication model was fairly static and not very engaging. And now with this inclusion of a more powerful digital technology, they can actually get a much more visual output and use this as a teaching tool as well as a communication tool with a coworker or employee. And this has gotten some really, really great results and feedback. So I will leave you with just this quote as a quick example as you're thinking about, provider and industry connections. I think it's really, really important as you all evaluate different solutions to think about, is that provider going to innovate and collaborate with you? And from a regulatory, industry, and or technology perspective are going to continue to evolve over time. So that ability for a provider to collaborate and innovate with you all is really, really critical. So I'll thank you for your time there. And I think, Reed, I'm going to turn things over to you to talk a little bit more about 3Motion.
Thank you, Natasha. Appreciate that. Well done in the presentation. I'll share my screen. And hopefully it all works. I'm assuming you'll see my screen okay?
Yep, all good.
Perfect, awesome. So a little bit about 3Motion. I know you looked at a small component that Natasha shared on workplace ergonomic and risk. But there's more to 3Motion behind the scenes and how we exist and how we develop technology in our solutions. We look at the broader aspect of human beings as individuals who move, and I'll get into explain a little bit more about that. And we look at movement holistically as a way to improve function holistically, whether it's providing a better movement of somebody performing a particular job duty or job function, or all the way to the other extreme as to, hey, I want to become a professional baseball player and I want to move the best that I can. So our technology and our company stands for understanding how humans move, understanding the limitations of their movement, and then developing solutions and systems to help maximize the most efficient way for them to move to achieve the goals that they've ultimately wanted to achieve. So that's sort of a format of three motion. The three motion stands for movement at home, work, or play. So we understand how people move at work to help them perform their normal job function. We need to understand how they move at home, doing the activities of daily living, simply walking, simply sitting, doing lifestyle type movement, even running, jogging functionally at home. Of course, a play. A play is a big part of our business and what we do as a company, helping people perform well while doing the activities that are relevant to them in terms of sport. All of these all sort of center around how the human body holistically overall moves. As a company, we built these innovations and we built this technology, and we partner with organizations to take in the various components of our technology stack and then embed it into their ecosystems. So in our case, working closely with Benchmark, we've been able to leverage our 3D neural net engine to deliver insights on how employees are moving in relation to the type of tasks that they're being asked to perform, looking at their posture, looking at their movement, and giving critical insight in real time as to what's actually happening. In which case, in this particular case, the Benchmark Gen Suite solution will take that data insights and develop intervention strategies and deliver that insight directly to that employer. So it's all about understanding movement and posture and risk. When we look at human movement, we look at it very holistically. We're not going to be measuring anybody jumping off a bridge and doing a back somersault, but just gives you the depth and the cross section of what human movement really looks like from our lens. We leverage any complex motion and we break it down into its subcomponents of kinematics, range of motion, acceleration, velocity, and risk, of course. And then we develop models around determining what's actually happening within that movement and how to improve that posture and movement for the goals that you want to achieve ultimately. So if you want to perform a safer lift or a safer task, there are specific algorithms and protocols that deliver a better outcome for that particular movement type. If you want to perform better at simply walking or driving a car or just functionally, holistically performing better generally, there's different components within our engine that deliver that type of insights. Now, we do this from a simple video, from data extracted from complex motion and distill it down at its simplest common denominator. And that's what makes our engine and our movement so specifically effective. Now, there are a lot of other options of collecting data. Now, the industry, for the most part, understands these specific 4 different components. You can extract complex data on human movement from manual reports, observations, of course. You can collect this level of complex information from physical exams, motion labs, and sensors, of course, but sensors on the body, and connect an array of complex data. And of course, the most complicated yet the most accurate is really getting somebody into a motion capture lab to truly understand what's happening in their body and how efficient are their movements and where are the areas to improve, whether it's to perform better at sport or just functionally run better or perform better at work. We see a substantial amount of applications in biomechanics lab being used to assess not only an individual performing a job, but really in terms of engineering a particular workstation environment. So these are all different applications within our own sphere. They're all effective. They make scalability very challenging, very difficult to get employees into a biomechanics lab to assess their posture. It's a controlled lab environment. It's not a realistic applications of what somebody does during an 8-hour workday. Our approach at 3Motion is to take these level of complexities and distill them down into a simple applications leveraging people's smartphones. So we take this complex movement that you would get from sensors or a motion capture lab or physical exams or observations, and we've packed them together into a phone application. Simply, you can take your phone. We all have one or two around us all the time, and use our phone as a diagnostic tool to look at human movement, to look at posture, to look at how somebody's performing, and understand quickly where they're performing correctly and where there's area of risk that's being detected. All of this information is done in real time. We're able to show where risk resides. We're allowing you to give you insights that you can then intervene in that risk and prevent it from happening. Whether it's behavior change, whether it's ergonomically changed, or whether it's a workstation change, or whether it's the employee needs a better fitness conditioning program just to make sure that they're able to perform the duties that are required safely and effectively and risk-free. Now, how do we get this much complex analysis into a simple phone? Well, we use a lot of science, a lot of innovation, a lot of science. We take a simple video that comes from your phone. We put it through 3 different distinct layers of analysis to kind of get to the ultimate outcome, which is our report. The first layer that we put it through is what we call a computer vision layer. That's when we process all this information from the phone that streams in real time. So we look at the video that comes in and we analyze every single frame in that video that took during the phone, and we extract all of the movement data for each joint in real time. Once we've collected all that information from the phone, then we pass that to our second proprietary layer called the machine learning layer. This layer is when it takes in all the joint angle data and it converts it into 3-dimensional data. So you can imagine a video phone only looks at data in 2-dimensional, can't really make much analysis on 2D data because the real world is 3D. So then we have to migrate that 2D data into a 3-dimensional perspective. And that we do that through our machine learning layer. So now we get to look at the individual making the movement from every aspect. We can look at it from the top. We can look at it from the back. We can look at it from the bottom. We can look at it from the left, from the right, and we can rotate that machine learning model to see what's happening in real time for that particular task. This model applies to whether we're lifting, in this case, a mechanic, or it could apply to somebody throwing a baseball. It could apply to somebody swinging a golf club. It could be applied to my mother trying to walk just so that she doesn't fall and fracture her hip. The application for our engine is really endless, but the processes that we go through are identical across the board. The third and final phase within our advanced engine is the analysis component. This is where we start to answer some complex questions as to what's happening within the video. And we did that by partnering with our partner to say, what's important to you? What do you want to know? In this particular case, maybe we want to understand if there's any joint risk on the body when the person's lifting his arms to perform this job duty. In a sports application, it might be, hey, we want to make sure that this guy can throw 100 miles an hour. And is there a risk of injury if he sustains that postural movement and that activity for a long period of time? So the output from our analysis engine is really modifiable and customizable to each particular use case, but the workflow and then the analysis is pretty much identical throughout the entire ecosystem. When you look at where does all this data go, it all gets consolidated into one we call sort of an app body avatar at the end of the assessment. So we take all of those 3 layers within our analysis engine. We look at the questions that are being asked from our model, from our partners, and then we distill that information into simple red, yellow, and green postural movement on a phone. So in this particular case, we're looking at a particular task that was scanned or flashed for a duration of time. We take that duration of time, whether it's 10 seconds, 20 seconds or longer. We collect all of seriously mass amount of information from that movement pattern, and we distill it down into simple risk on the back, the shoulders, the lumbar, the ankle, and the knees. Then we calculate that risk on red, yellow, and green hot zones. We also give you an overall risk on the entire task movement. So we see this particular movement, whether it's working under the car or pushing a cart or driving a truck for a period of time. The overall risk in that particular activity is on a scale of 1 to 10. In this particular case, we'll pick a number like 7. And then so it's a moderately to high risk. But then we go further and we say if that activity was to continue for a period of time, there's a probability or likelihood that this injury may cause an injury. And if it does cause an injury, then we give you an idea of what the cost of that injury might be to be rehabilitated and the amount of time that it might take to bring this person back to work. So you get all this information in real time on the phone at the end of the scan. So essentially, health and safety expert, a technologist, a physical therapist, a provider has access to our system, can walk up to an environment, look at a particular workstation or work activity, flash that particular event, and get all this information on their phone literally in seconds. For organizations that want to look at risk and performance and overall postural movement holistically, they can look at it through what we call the enterprise dashboard. So we collect all this information, it streams into one location by organization, where we'll give you the ability to drill down and say, well, how's my organization doing holistically? How does the West Coast doing against the East Coast? Which location and which province and which state has the highest risk? And then within that region, how do we drill it down to the shipping department, to the office department, to the transportation department? And then within each department, who's in which individual job function is highest at risk, or which individual employee needs the most attention. So you can look at overall performance holistically, the macro, or you can dive into any level of details that you want directly into our system. So our system is pretty broad in how it's consolidated and made available. What we're doing with our partnerships, and particularly with Benchmark and others who have signed up, is if we've made the pledge to make our technology available at no cost through our partnerships with our pledge partners. So we want to extend the power of computer vision and AI. We want to make it available for anyone who has an iPhone to be able to get access to our app, be able to scan an environment, and get meaningful insight that equips them with the ability to make at least intervention decisions, a triage of a risk mechanism where you can improve behavior, where you can improve technique, where you can improve posture, where you can then implement some of the data sets directly into their solutions. We're doing this through a pledge, and the pledge is simply as a matter of getting access to our VIP access to our system, where you can download the 3Motion Pro app directly from Apple Store, register, use this VIP code right here on your screen, and get access and get a closer look as to how we assess postural movement directly in real time at no cost to our partners. Our goal is to try to equip our partners with as much technology as we can to enable them to get a closer look from a triage perspective as to what's happening in their work environment, and then be able to use that data to deliver the intervention strategies, the ergonomic strategies, other solutions that would probably help reduce the amount of exposure, to reduce the amount of MSK risk at scale. And like Natasha showed, this would be a sort of a similar type model that you would get directly from a scanned event, where you look at the activity itself, you get to see the joint risk on the different parts of the body, you get to see the overall risk on the particular movement, and then you get to see the overall risk based on upper body, and then break it down by lower body and upper body as well. That's sort of a quick overview on the elements within 3Motion.
All right, thank you so much, Reed. Share my screen here. Great. So lastly, you're going to be hearing from LifeBooster CEO, Brian Statham. So Brian Statham is the CEO of LifeBooster and a pioneer in the digital health and safety industry. With nearly 2 decades of experience in innovation and safety, Brian has dedicated his career to leveraging technology to prevent workplace injuries and improve worker well-being. Brian sits on the advisory council for the National Safety Council's MSD Solutions Lab, giving him deep insight into the challenges and opportunities for safety technologies to address musculoskeletal disorders in industry. Brian's passion for innovation and his commitment to creating safer workplaces have made him a recognized leader in the safety technology space, and LifeBooster has become a trailblazer in safety technologies, helping large enterprises around the globe enhance safety, efficiency, and productivity, ensuring workers get home safely every day. With that, I will pass it on over to Brian.
Great. Thanks, Riley. Share my screen here. Just want to see. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right, excellent. So Yes, I'm Brian Statham. I'm the CEO and co-founder of LifeBooster. We are transforming workplace safety through AI-driven risk management. Our solution, Sens, is the most advanced risk assessment platform on the market, really empowering enterprises to eliminate injuries before they occur. And today I'm going to be touching on two topics. One is establishing a strategic partnership, not just a vendor relationship. And then I'm also going to talk about the evolving relationship between providers and industry through the democratization of data across an organization. And of course, I'm going to tell you a little bit about LifeBooster. So really, until now, safety teams have lacked complete, reliable, real-time data at scale to proactively identify and mitigate musculoskeletal disorder and heat stress risks. So we developed Sens, which is our advanced risk assessment platform, to address these issues and enable our customers to digitize and automate the risk assessment process so they can focus their time doing what they do best, which is building targeted programs to drive risk reduction and increase the overall business outcomes. Using AI-powered sensor technology and data insights with overlaid operational, video, photo, movement, and workload data, we're providing a comprehensive risk visibility at scale, not only over the course of a single job or a short period of time, but across multiple jobs, locations, and over a course of an entire shift, providing sort of this unmatched value for understanding the cumulative risk exposures for musculoskeletal disorders that our workers are facing. And we're eliminating the guesswork and enabling safety professionals to take more of a targeted preventative action before injuries occur. And so our customers are seeing a 98% reduction in manual ergonomic assessment time, 900% increases in risk assessment efficiency, 150% increases in year-over-year controls that are being implemented, and up to 90% reduction in injury risk for specific body parts that a worker is experiencing. So our methodology follows the continuous improvement model. So similar to Plan, Do, Check, Act, which is enabling customers to see long-term sustainable risk reduction and injury prevention. But also importantly, they're seeing an increase in engagement across their organization, and they're able to deploy these solutions at scale that are continuously delivering value year over year. Change management, as we all know, is not easy. So our team of experts work closely with our customers and partners to ensure that there is success at every step of their journey. And we end up becoming really an extension of a company's health and safety and risk management team. And so we're ensuring that we're establishing a strategic partnership, not just a vendor relationship. So let's get into the topic today. So a true partnership, it's not about software implementation. It's about building a relationship that really starts on day one of the sales process. From that very first conversation, both organizations are learning about each other. The customer is assessing whether the vendor solution can truly deliver value, while the vendor is evaluating whether the customer is prepared to successfully deploy and champion that solution. And so that's where confidence begins to take shape. So confidence building is one of the most critical aspects of a successful partnership. Customers need to know they're getting a reliable solution, accurate data, strong support, and that there will be a measurable impact. But on the flip side, vendors need to be confident that the customer has the right people and processes in place to drive that adoption and long-term success. So this is why transparency, credibility, and early proof of value are going to be so important. And once that confidence is established, then you need to build that trust. And trust is built by making sure that you have the right people engaged at the right time. So many industries, especially in the industrial work environments, come with their unique challenges. So workers may be extremely concerned about data privacy, and executives are focused on really proving out the ROI. So these concerns need to be acknowledged. They need to be addressed and navigated collaboratively between the vendor and the industry partner. So how do we build that trust? We engage the executive leadership early. They need to see a clear business case, whether it's cost savings, risk reduction, efficiency gains, to really get that full buy-in. Second, we need to address the workforce's concerns. So transparency is going to be absolutely key. The workers need to understand how that data is going to be used, what's being tracked, and how it benefits them. And lastly, we need to build internal champions. So having advocates that are inside the organization who believe in the solution is going to help drive adoption and that long-term success. And when vendors and customers are working collaboratively to gain trust across the organization, deployments are going to run smoother, faster, and more effectively at scale. And so with trust in place, then you need to focus on alignment, because even the best solutions are going to fail if expectations aren't clear. So for a partnership to work, both sides need to align on what success looks like, whether that's reducing injuries, improving efficiency, saving costs. They need to know how the technology fits into the company's existing systems, what the deployment roadmap looks like, and alignment is going to start before a contract is even signed. It continues throughout implementation and ongoing as well. So during those early days, it's about defining measurable outcomes. Maybe there's going to be on-site visits, strategy meetings, ongoing consulting, to really ensure that there's going to be real world impact. And ultimately ensuring that the vendor isn't just a provider, right? An extension of the customer's own safety and risk management team is going to be imperative. And then once you get to a point where the vendors and the customers are aligned, implementation isn't just about deploying technology, it's about driving real business outcomes. And this is where consistency comes into place, and it's what keeps partnerships strong over time. A lot of organizations are struggling with this because they just roll out a solution and communication falls apart over time. So employees forget who they need to contact, problems don't get escalated properly, and the partnership starts to feel a little disconnected. So establishing a consistent communication strategy from day one is also going to be critical in this for success of deploying these types of technologies. Customers need to know who they need to reach out to, whether it's technical support, strategy discussions, or scaling up a program. Vendors need to proactively check in. So this isn't just, doing the sale, giving you the solution, and then checking in at renewal time. It's about building a true partnership and checking in throughout the entire deployment. Both sides need to continuously review progress and adapt, because businesses evolve, and so the safety strategies need to evolve with them. And consistency builds confidence. It reinforces trust, keeps alignment strong, and ultimately it ensures that the partnership is going to deliver that sustained value, not just for a year, but for many years. And when all of these are in place, the relationship moves just beyond a product purchase. It becomes that strategic partnership that drives real measurable outcomes and business impact. And that's what brings us to the democratization of data. So when we democratize health and safety data, it isn't just about giving people access to number. It's about really empowering an entire organization to make smarter, safer, and more efficient decisions. But to make this work, it's not just about the technology, it's about having the right strategy, the right support, and right partnership in place. So this is where your vendor-customer relationship becomes critical. Successfully rolling out a data-driven safety program isn't about just implementing the software or the hardware or the software and hardware. It's about collaboration, integration, and effectively ongoing value delivery. And the key to that is you need to have the foundations that we just talked about: confidence, trust, alignment, and consistency, because without them, this will fail. And health and safety data shouldn't just sit within the safety department. The real power comes when this data is democratized, when every department, from operations to HR, from finance to supply chain, they can use this information to make better decisions. And there are benefits to extending this data across an organization. So as you see on the screen, enhanced decision-making. So you get providing employees with access to relevant health and safety data. It's going to empower them to identify potential hazards and implement more preventative measures proactively. You get improved safety outcomes when data is shared across departments. It's allowing for better identification of some of the patterns and trends in the risk data, which will allow you to facilitate more targeted interventions and reduce that likelihood of accidents occurring. You get increased productivity. Employees are going to spend less time sort of navigating, the bureaucratic hurdles to get information, allowing them to focus more on their core responsibilities. And then you have employee empowerment and engagement. And so this is creating that sense of ownership across all employees regarding workplace safety. So typically our relationship starts with the safety team. They're the natural first adopters because their job is to reduce risk and prevent injuries. But the bigger question is, what if that same safety data could drive better decision-making across the entire organization? So if you take something like job scheduling, this is usually an operational decision. But what if ergonomics data could tell you whether extending shifts and paying overtime increases risk to an unacceptable level? Would it be safer, more cost-effective to hire additional workers instead? These are good questions to be asking, and data can provide the answers. As organizations are maturing in their use of the safety data, we are seeing a massive opportunity to build and expand relationships beyond just safety teams. So With some of the examples here, operations and production, you can get optimized workflows, reduced downtime, better equipment and workstation design. In human and resources and occupational health, you can get proactive injury prevention, stronger employee engagement and retention, and smarter return to work programs. With engineering and maintenance, safer equipment and tool design and purchasing, predictive maintenance, compliance and risk reduction. Finance, you have cost reduction from injury prevention, insurance premium optimization, measurable ROI, again, better purchasing decisions. And then one that's not on here is supply chain and logistics. Now you can get to a point of safer material handling, warehouse optimization even, and automation and AI integration. And this is where a strategic partnership between vendor and customer goes beyond the technology. So too often we're seeing companies invest in a solution and they're being left figuring out the deployment on their own. And that's a massive failure, not just for adoption, but for worker safety. In our industry where we're dealing with people's lives, that's just not acceptable. So for this to work, vendors and customers have to be aligned, not just on the product implementation, but on long-term success. So that's building real relationships across departments, not just safety, integrating technology into existing systems and workflows, and providing ongoing support, training, and collaboration. Now, this is an entire webinar in itself, so I'm trying to go through it pretty quickly. So happy to discuss any of this afterwards. But when it comes down to it, the best vendor relationships don't feel like a software purchase. They feel like an extension of your own safety team. And at the end of the day, democratizing safety data isn't just about making workplaces safer. It's about making organizations stronger, smarter, and also more sustainable. And so a true partnership between vendor and customer means confidence in the data and the solution, trust built through transparency and engagement, alignment on business goals and outcomes, and then getting that consistency in communication and long-term support. And so when we get this right, safety really becomes more than just a department. It becomes a shared responsibility across the entire organization. And that's how we drive real long-term change. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. So with that, now we're going to be moving on to our moderated Q&A session with our three panelists. And then we have our moderator, Kenna Stanley, who is our Senior Research Associate from the Work to Zero team. So with that, I'm going to pass it on over to Kenna.
Thank you, Riley. And thank you all for joining us today. That was a lot of really great information on how we can build these partnerships. I will just jump right into it. We have quite a few questions to kick us off. The first one I see is, how do you balance standardization and customization to meet customer needs without overcomplicating deployment? Natasha, I'll start with you, and then I think I'll pass it over to Brian.
Thanks, Kenna. I think it's a great question, and I'll talk a little bit about, the approach that we use at Benchmark Gen Suite. I mean, our goal has always been to develop solutions that provide kind of an 80-20 rule approach, if you will, at a balance between standardization and customization. So our approach has been that every subscriber can benefit from proven best practice-based workflows as the foundation in their software solution. And then from there, they can extend features to tailor it to meet their business and industry needs. And that final layer may be something that they need to customize. It's very unique for just that business. And that approach that we've used over the last 25, 30 years has enabled us to do very fast, quick deployments with our subscriber community, make them scalable, and ensure that we can continue to do continuous innovation of that technology without having to do versioning, because that can become very, very expensive for folks if they start with version 1.0 10 years ago and they can never move or innovate beyond that. That's a really, really important thing to consider. So that's the approach that we've used and the balance that we're trying to strike between standardization and customization of feature sets.
Thanks, Natasha. Brian?
I was just on mute there. Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and Natasha did a great job because we follow a lot of the same methodology there. So tying it to some of the points that I was making is this is where alignment is going to be really important. the vendor needs to fully understand the customer's goals, whether that's long or short term, or both, sorry. And in order to recommend a path forward that is built on existing best practices of the vendor and the company, it also needs to give flexibility to meet those goals, right? So, because complications arise when the vendor is lacking that alignment with the customer and tries to force them down some standard path. Solutions are becoming more adaptive to specific industry needs. And so ensuring that when you're choosing a vendor, make sure it's one that has the ability to adapt, or rather than having a solution that's kind of like a one size fits all. That's going to be important for your success as well.
Excellent, thank you. Reed, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, no, for sure. So I think Brian, Natasha, you're on mark exactly. We look at customization again through a different lens. We offer a substantial amount of customization because for us as an engine, it's important to understand what questions our customer really ultimately wants to answer. And knowing the answer that is expected, working backwards to say, well, does our current technology kind of deliver that type of insight? And if it doesn't, then what levers should we be pulling to give a different output? And the output that we give for our partner may not be the same output that we give to a different partner, even though the questions may be very similar. So understanding specifically what's the expected solution that needs to be deployed and what answers are going to impact the highest outcome is key. And then we take on the responsibility of the engineering, the heavy lift on kind of moving pieces around in the puzzle to be able to give our client the answers that they need. And once we deliver that answer, it's pretty much unique, a value prop specifically for that particular partner. And it isn't made available for anyone else. Right.
Excellent, thank you all. I will move on to the next question. I will just open this up to all of you. What strategies have proven effective in fostering long-term collaborative relationships between providers and industry? And Natasha, I'll kick it off with you and just continue going around my circle.
Great. Yeah, no, I think we've kind of talked a little bit about this over our time together, but I think understanding needs, goals, objectives, when things change, because there's always going to be change. You can have all these great plans set up front, and things are just going to change. So when there's change, then how we stay connected and how we can best communicate together. I think those are kind of three key things that need to be in play constantly to have a really, really good collaborative relationship. And I think as I've seen engagements with our subscribers, if we have those three things working really well between the teams, understanding always what those goals and objectives are, when things change, and how we can best communicate when those changes occur, that's really when we have the best engagement and the best outcome for both groups.
Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a pretty strong focus from my part of the presentation where when you're building that confidence, that trust and alignment and consistency, it ties in everything that Natasha, you were just talking about as well. That long-term strategy for communication and support is so critical. Making sure that we are not just touching base every so often. It's about having a finger on the pulse of what our customers and partners are dealing with. What are their challenges? We do customer advisory boards, and those are fantastic opportunities for us to understand what's happening in the marketplace, what's required, what needs aren't being met. And that helps to drive better and more targeted innovation, which is really important. Getting the right stakeholders involved is so critical as well. I mean, yeah, all the things that I was talking about. It's so important to align on goals and expectations of the between the vendor and customer as well.
Yeah, the only thing I could add, and then the great points, is really bringing in the client, the end user, into that equation of customization and outcome. That's important for the technology to be customizable. It's great for the provider to have the flexibility to customize the service delivery. But for me, I think bringing that employer, the end user who needs the end solution, to be part of that customization, that modified process to say, combining the provider with the technology, do they collectively provide the kind of outcome that the end user is going to want to use, and then be responsive to that end user's changing workflow, changing process, and be responsive to and progressively responsive to their changes within their environment, and deliver an enhanced solution as their clients end user process could change. And it's changing dynamically, right? We see processes change almost week to week, month to month. That responsiveness collectively, collaboratively is kind of what makes the big difference in my mind.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think we have time for one more question, and I'd like to take that last question and kind of turn it on its head. What are some of the signs of a weak vendor-customer relationship, and what steps do you take to try to improve those relationships? And Natasha, I'll kick it off with you again.
Great. Well, it probably goes to the inverse of what we just talked about, right? So if you don't have clarity on objectives, you don't have a good operating rhythm of connect points when you're getting together, and a mechanism by which to escalate change or an issue and be able to work those together. Those are all kind of weaknesses in, I think, the overall process. So, and it can be one, two, or all three of those that really cause disconnect. So I think the other aspect that I would look at is the proof of delivery, if you will, for a vendor, for a particular industry. Like, do they have a proven solution, Reed, to your point, that users love and have adopted and will share with their peers and talk about? If you don't have that, I think that's a question, because really the proof is in the pudding, right? Proof is in the eating. How well is that vendor delivering for their current subscribers, and what are their current subscribers and users sharing about that? So I think that's a really quick and easy way to get some immediate feedback and understand, you know, is that vendor provider really doing what they need to in the industry, and how is that engagement going to be, and what is it going to look like?
Excellent. Brian?
Yeah, all great points as well. And I think ways that you can see a weak relationship forming is that, you know, like really easily lack of engagement, right? That should just be something that's being measured all the time. So if like on the vendor side, if they're only present at, like I was saying, contract renewal or during sort of software updates, that's a red flag. You want to make sure that the vendor is as engaged as your team is, because your team is putting in a ton of time and energy and resources to have a successful program. But also from the vendor side, if the company is not engaged in the program and those metrics aren't going how you had originally envisioned and how you aligned at the very beginning with your goals and expectations, you need to get ahead of that and start to be proactive, not reactive. The other piece is, you know, very similar to what Reed was talking about on customization and the like, but if there's just a one-size-fits-all approach, that's not going to be successful, right? If the vendor isn't adapting their solution to the company's evolving needs, it's not going to drive that real impact. And then unclear sort of value proposition as well. So that's right out of the gates. If the stakeholders aren't seeing the clear benefits from the data, that partnership isn't working effectively. So to improve that relationship, again, I think vendors are going to need to be more proactive, not reactive. They need to offer strategic insights, maybe some ongoing training, and I think evolving their product based on customer feedback as well.
Absolutely. And Reed, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off. We are running just a little bit short on time, and I know Ms. Riley has to come back and close this out, but thank you all again for all that information.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much,
everybody.
Kenna. All right. So thank you again. Thank you, Natasha, Reed, and Brian, for being part of our panel today and sharing your expertise on navigating the ongoing relationship between provider and industry. So if you want to learn more about their companies, please check out the TechHub Marketplace, where you can find their listing and send them a lead form. And a big thank you to our moderator, Kenna Stanley. If you have any other questions, please reach out to innovation@nsc.org to learn more about the TechHub Marketplace. Have a great day and stay safe.